Hey everyone, and thank you for joining the Tech for Resilient Communities track at the 2021 Microsoft Research Summit. My name is Hart, and I am a Director of Strategy and Policy in the Societal Resilience Group in Microsoft Research. So, it's no secret that the world is changing. There is the pandemic, climate change, increased digitization and online communication, as all of you attending this online event are witness to. These have all had major impacts. The world looks different than it did 30 years ago, which is when Microsoft Research was founded. And even 2015, to me at least, feels like a lifetime ago, but that's when Microsoft adopted the mission statement to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. At Microsoft, we know how to build for our customers. We know how to conduct user studies to collect feedback and data on ongoing projects. We know there's deep expertise among us who work directly with customers to develop a relationship, set expectations, and ultimately build a system that meets their requirements. But what happens when the people affected by a system, the people we hope to help with technology, are not individual users or customers, but are communities of people? What happens when those people's preferences don't live in a vacuum, but within the constraints of social relationships and collective concerns that can easily get lost when we use processes designed for individual users and customers? Microsoft has many user experience designers, field engineers, and customer engagement specialists who are vital to the success of our business relationships. We have comparatively few anthropologists and sociologists. But today, we are expanding the collaboration between researchers in the social sciences and developers to explore ways of working more closely with communities. And we're going to hear from a selection of these innovators in today's sessions. Together, we'll examine processes and techniques for developing technology with community partners. How do we build relationships that are mutually beneficial and privacy-preserving, not just by our standards, but by the standards of everyone affected by a system? How do we navigate the differences in lived experience, as well as the power differential between Microsoft and members of communities most directly impacted by crisis? How do we measure the success of technology without defaulting to industry standards that were not designed to capture societal impact? And what can technology look like when, in addition to being well-intentioned, and in addition to being led by thoughtful and respectful team members, it also follows social science-driven methodology for working with communities? Some of you may be here today because you already know that these are hard problems. And perhaps you've even been frustrated, as I have been, at just how big a gap there is between where we are today and where we want to go. When I first started working on technology for COVID last March, I was one of many researchers who jumped into work on just whatever we thought might have a chance of helping people. And one of the lessons we learned is that many communities weren't sitting around waiting for new technology. They were already self-organizing to help themselves. To quote senior principal researcher Mary Gray, who we'll hear from a little bit later, "Don't underestimate what communities are already doing." We are honored to work alongside a number of colleagues who never forget what communities are already doing, who know that folks on the ground are the subject matter experts who know what they need better than we do, and who work with dedication and heart on ambitious projects that deeply involve community stakeholders. Our first roundtable today will be moderated by a renowned expert in the social sciences and MacArthur Grant awardee, our very own Mary Gray, and she'll lead a discussion among some of the key folks behind Project Resolve and their community healthcare toolkit. In our panel on building for societal resilience, cryptography expert Karen Easterbrook will moderate a discussion among technology leaders at Microsoft who are working towards societal issues, such as Josh Mandel, who uses his experience as a trained physician to work with the healthcare community to develop technology standards. And in our final panel of the morning, we'll hear how technologists are teaming up with community partners to monitor air quality in Chicago. Scott Counts and Madeline Depp will moderate, and Scott will return to start off our afternoon session with a demonstration of Project Eclipse. We couldn't be more excited to continue to learn from their experience building tech for resilient communities. So thank you again for joining us on this journey. I'm so glad you're here, and let's get started with our first panel.